Welcome to Bible by the Fire in DAYZ, where we study the Bible by a fire in DAYZ. This channel is out of control. We play survival games Monday through Friday, but Sunday we study the Bible together. Today, the title is Let Go and Be Free. Probably all of us have something that we're holding on to that is holding us back. We choose to hold on to it. We choose not to deal with it, and it's actually holding us back and we're not free. I want to share a story from when I was a child. We didn't have a lot growing up. We grew up wearing cloth diapers, my siblings and I, because the disposable ones were so expensive. It's kind of nasty because you gotta clean out those cloth diapers and dip them in that bucket of bleach water and then throw them in the washing machine and hang them to dry. Gross stuff. When I was 7 years old, I had a sister who was 1. And she was in cloth diapers. I obviously had been potty trained for about 2 years up to that point. I'm kidding. I think I was a late bloomer when it comes to the potty training, but I had it under control, don't worry. And one day I saw my dad changed her diaper, and it was a poop diaper. It caught my attention because at 7 years old, that's basically the world is all about poop and stuff. So I saw this just nasty diaper kind of rolled up into a ball, and he set it on the kitchen counter, which is not very hygienic, but he's a man. He didn't think it through. And he washed his hands, and as he was washing his hands, he looked out the window and realized, oh, there's some yard work that I need to do. And he was walking out the door, and my mother said, Mark, you need to deal with that diaper. You can't just leave it there. He said, oh, I'll get it in a minute, honey. I just need to go take care of some things in the yard, and then I'll take care of it. So he went out to the yard, did some yard work. Things took a little longer than he thought. He came back in, and I saw him come in, and he was sweaty. His face was sweaty. He had some dirt on his hands and his forehead, and he went to the sink, and he turned it on, and he splashed water on his hands, soap on his hands, thoroughly washed his hands, and he splashed water on his face, rubbed soap on his hand, and smashed the soap into his face, so he's soapy-faced, splashed some more water on his face to clean his face, and then with his eyes tight shut because of the water and the soap on his face, he started feeling down the counter for a towel to dry his face. And I got this big old grin on my little 7-year-old face because I saw his hand getting closer and closer to that nasty poop diaper he had left on the counter. And I watched as the man grabbed that poop diaper, thought it was a towel, and smeared poop all over his face. And so, oh, for crying out loud. Oh, for crying out loud. And he had to wash his face, and I was dying laughing. My mom was full of, I told you so's. And why do I tell that story? He left something in his life that shouldn't have been left out. We're talking about letting go and being free. He should have taken that trash out a long time ago and it wouldn't come back to bite him. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1 says this, Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders us and the sin that tangles us, and let us run with perseverance the race that is marked out before us. We want to be people who run free. We don't want to be people who are held back. We don't want to be people who leave things in our lives knowing that they're going to come back to haunt us. We don't want to leave poop diapers on the counter of our lives. And I'm not being judgmental because I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do. I'm only telling you if there's something that's already on your heart, if there's something that's already holding you back, if there's a big poop diaper on the counter of your life, I want to inspire you and encourage you today to get rid of it, to let it go. You know, I think it was in the Congo, monkeys were running wild. There were some scientists and some researchers, and these monkeys were just running amok and causing problems. And so to round up the monkeys, they drilled little holes in the trees, and they took little pieces of tinfoil, shiny, and put it in the hole of the tree. And these monkeys would climb up to that hole, see something shiny, stick their hand in, and they would grab that tinfoil, and they would not let it go because they were desperate to see what it was. It was shiny. And they would sit there with their fist in the hole, unable to pull their hand out of the tree because the hole was too small when their fist was balled up. But at the same time, they would not let go of that tinfoil because they wanted to see what it was. And then the researchers could go and round them up and take them out and put them far away so they wouldn't be running amok all over their equipment and everything. And that's how they dealt with them. But the idea that they were holding on to something and that something was actually holding them back, that's a principle that we all wrestle with. Whether it's a bad habit, maybe it's a hurt in your past, maybe you got a hang up, maybe you got some unforgiveness. Whatever it is in your heart, it may be something you've chosen, it may be something that has fallen upon you and you've asked for it not at all. Just something that happened that wasn't good, but it's holding you back. Today I want to encourage you to let it go. Maybe you need some help letting it go. Maybe you need some counseling or a friend. Maybe you need some time in prayer or a church. Maybe it's something you can just determine, no, I need to let this go once and for all. I had someone I needed to forgive almost, was it a year ago or 2 years ago? I can't remember. And I knew it. And I didn't do it for a long time. And then finally, I just dialed the phone number, sent the call, and said, hey, we need to bury the hatchet. I'm sorry for how things ended. I'd really like to be able to give you a handshake and a bro hug next time I see you and just forget all of this. Something along those lines. It was a 6-minute, 49-second conversation on the phone. And he was obviously willing to accept and forgive and move on. And I didn't feel like I was in the wrong, but I didn't want to hold that anger anymore. And so we buried the hatchet. And I tell you the freedom that comes with that. But is there a sin? Is there something of an emotion like an anger? Is there an unforgiveness? Is there some pain, something that's happened, and you just can't let it go? I want to encourage you today to let it go. Jesus said, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Now, he's literally not talking about plucking your eye out. He's talking metaphorically. Maybe in our culture, he'd say, hey, if your phone is causing you to sin, get a flip phone. If you have an addiction, face it. Go get some help. Maybe go to a rehab. I have close friends and family who've gone through rehab and gotten their life back on track, and it's a beautiful thing, the freedom that they're enjoying. Some of you on this channel, and I don't want to name names, but you've reached out to me and said, hey, I need to get into rehab, and I'm so proud of you. And now you're living free. Maybe there's some friends that when you walk with them, when you hang with them, you go down bad paths, you go to dark places. Maybe put some distance in those friendships. Maybe find some new friends. When it comes to friendships, my brother, he's 11 years younger than me. He was hanging with some guys. They're just always getting down in trouble, always just profane. And he had to actually tell them, guys, I'm going down this faith route, and I just can't be doing this anymore. I want you to come with me. And they're like, and they weren't. And he said, I might not be around for a little while. And he lost those friends, at least for a time. And he told me, he said, sometimes you have to lose a friend to be a friend. And what he meant by that is, he's drawing a line in the sand. He is moving on to something better. He's inviting them along the way. But he's going to lose them in the short term because they're not going to want to do that. They're going to want to keep doing the things that they're doing, going down the roads that they're going. But he's setting an example. And that's being a real friend. And some of them came around later in life and walked with him down that road. They joined him. They got sick of the rat race. They got sick of the prodigal life where they're realizing this world is just taking everything from them. And they're not free. They're holding on to those shiny objects in the trees. They're leaving those poop diapers, and now the poop is smeared on their faces. And they say, hey, you know what? Marky had something right. And now they've gotten it right. So I want to encourage you in all these things. Don't leave things out in your life that shouldn't be left out. If you got to make some calls, make some calls. If you got to offer forgiveness, offer forgiveness. If you got to check into a rehab clinic, check into a rehab clinic. It's probably not that extreme. It's probably more like little things that are just nagging at you, and you feel this shame, this guilt, this anxiety, or you feel some anger, or you feel some sadness. And I want to encourage you to start taking steps towards healing. Let go of some things. The prodigal son came back. He ran out, he did his thing, and when he came back, he was welcomed home. And I tell you, God welcomes you home. So whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're holding on to, whatever things you've left on the counter of your life that shouldn't be there, our Hebrews text started off by saying we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. There are so many people in your life cheering you on, wanting what's best for you. And if not, I want to encourage you to find a new circle of friends. Get involved in a local church where there's a positive energy there, and a pastor who's going to help guide you along, and some great friends you can make. And who knows? Maybe that husband or that wife, maybe a whole new family. Who knows what's going to happen? You can have a bright future ahead. So don't hold on to the things that are keeping you attached to those trees or those diapers that are left on the counter. Don't leave those things out. I know in the past few messages have been a little more positive and upbeat, and I think this one is too. But I am calling you out. I'm calling you to say, if there's something darn well needs to be done in your life, needs to be put in that rearview mirror, needs to be thrown out in the trash, the right thing to do. I'm not telling you what that right thing is, I can't consider that all in a 10-minute little video without a dialogue. But you know, I want to give you that extra push, that extra inspiration, that extra encouragement to walk that out. Well, this has been another episode of Bible by the Fire in DAYZ. We'll be back next Sunday with another episode. I hope you're having a great day, and until next time, keep carrying the fire.